Welcome everyone to Rage of Rayzor's 31 Days of Horror and our first video cast. With me is the artist, Jane Bush. I can't say the one and only because she's not the only Jane Bush.
That's why we distinguish artists before Jane Bush.
Yeah, and today, like I said, 31 Days of Horror, we're going to talk a little bit of horror. We had a horror panel last year with our old website, Nightfall Unlimited, which we worked together on.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and the podcast we did was pretty fun. I don't know if that's still out there or not. You can look up Nightfall Unlimited on Podbean. It might still be up. I don't remember if they took it down or not. I didn't have control of the podcast, so.
Is it on YouTube?
No, that one wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bummer.
We tried the Friday the 13th one and had some technical difficulties with it, but with Frankie, you remember that?
Oh yeah, I do.
But today we're going to talk about all kinds of horror because we both like horror.
We love horror. We don't just like horror, we love it. And I know that a lot of you do too. So that's why we're here. So I'll introduce myself.
I just
artist
introduced
Jane. I know, but I'm also not just a person with a name. So
she's just a name, that's it.
I'm not really actually a 3D person.
Wow.
I'm a hologram. For those of you who like Red Dwarf. But anyways, back to horror. We both love horror, and I had worked on NightfallUnlimited.com. I was a contributor for Music Monday, and I was also the artist behind our Shark Horse comic, which...
Rocket and the Shark Horse.
Yes, Rocket and the Shark Horse. And you know what? It'll be back someday, probably.
I'm going to put what we have up on Rage of Rayzor since Nightfall's gone.
Yeah. Because it was a great comic.
It was fun to write. The characters were a lot of fun. And it was fun.
It was fun.
And then, I don't know, we may do something new after the new year, maybe. I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
We're still working it.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, and of course, if you've been following my website, I've been doing 31 Days of Horror. I've done that for 4 years, I think. And it's a lot of fun, a lot different this year because it's all by myself, which was okay. I just basically picked a movie, wrote about it, and threw it out there for the world to see. And today's is Halloween 2, which I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched it a lot throughout my life. But
can I interrupt you for a second and interview you about 31 Days of Horror?
Okay.
Okay, so my curiosity is...
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds for 31 Days of Horror. When you actually pick these movies, and did you actually watch them every day? Were you really loyal to this? Like, you weren't just like, oh, well, I've already seen that, so I'm just going to write about it. Or did you kind of...
Yes and no.
I'm kind of,
there was certain days that I couldn't do it, but I wanted to make sure I had content up for the website.
Sure.
But I would at least say 80% of them. And this year I watched a lot of Lucio Fulci films.
Yes.
Which Italian horror, gore. He's the master. He's like the godfather of gore, I think. And I really wish I could have added those to the top 100 list this year. But and then
do it next year too.
Yeah.
So.
And then the last few days I did the Halloween movies, and I didn't get the chance to watch Rob Zombie's Halloween, which was yesterday's 31 Days of Horror. But I did watch it a couple days ago. So, and I knew I was going to write about it, so I got a fresh look at it. But I had a busy beginning of October, so there's a few of them I didn't get to watch, which I eventually did get to watch, but not on the day. So, but it worked out.
Okay. All right. Basically, I was just kind of wondering about that because I think it's pretty impressive.
Calling me out.
It's what friends do.
Every one of the movies that's on the list, I did watch.
Yeah. I totally believe you for that.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of curious. I was like, wow, that's a commitment, and that's awesome one too.
The first 2 years I did it, I for sure watched every single one of the movies, and that got kind of taxing. Especially the second year when I had a theme, where it was like I did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies and then werewolf movies. And
did you ever get to a point where you're like, oh,
yeah, I did.
Geez,
and I'm actually already looking forward to next year because I think I have an idea of what I want to do rather than just do random movies. So
okay,
but
cool. That, and I'm really impressed with. I'm impressed with that, and I'm also impressed with the Top 100, which even though we voted on it, you still put up the content. You still,
Yeah, I got some complaints about the way I was releasing it.
Why?
Well, because I wanted to space it out over the course of the month, and I released starting with 100 every 10, and every 3 days, and doesn't matter. On tomorrow, the whole list goes up, so
That's cool.
All 100 goes up, and you were a part of that voting.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I enjoyed it. Well, I'll tell you what. Last year, I don't know why, but last year it seemed more. I guess because it was in print, in physical print, it seemed very. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't mean to be negative. It just felt redundant because I was just like, oh, this, and I'm thinking of all the categories. But this time, whenever it was on a kind of spreadsheet format, it was like, boom, I had it done within 15 minutes. Last year, for whatever reason, it took me 45.
There was less movies last year. This year, there were 189 movies that the horror panel voted from, and I actually made a scorecard for Jane of. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it.
Nope. We'll talk about it. Is that our first topic?
The first topic is we're going to get into, which you can actually kind of go off this, which is your favorite category, and what, your background in horror.
I'm really actually surprised with some of the results.
What is your what got you started? Everybody knows I got started with Nightmare on Elm Street 2 when I was 5. And then it just escalated.
We have opposites. We're totally opposite because you grew up watching horror and you grew up with that background. I grew up fearing Freddy Krueger, and I literally would just have nightmares, and I hated my room anyways growing up because it was creepy, but that's a whole other story. But my background is that I started watching horror whenever I was teenager. Because I lived in a very...
There's a lot of people that were like that, though, that I know.
I wasn't allowed to watch horror whenever I was a kid. That was just how it was. And
see, my mom, whenever I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, she fell asleep on the couch, and I sat there and watched the whole thing. And I told her I watched it the next day. She brought home Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and a couple of Reanimator. She's like, "Oh, you like horror? Check these out."
Yeah.
I'm 5 years old, and I loved them, so I must be demented a little bit. But.
Nah, I think, in a way, you can judge a parent the way you want to, but the thing is I think a lot of the time when people grow up watching horror, I think they kind of get desensitized towards, deeper fears. See, I was extremely sensitive. I remember my cousin showed up and scared me whenever I was about 4 or 5. I might have been, probably between 3 and 5. I don't remember, but I remember being terrified because she wore this mask, and it was like a cross between a werewolf and a gorilla. And she jumped out at me. I answered the door, and she jumped out at me. I mean, I was just terrified. I was so pissed off. Sorry, but I was so angry at her, and I was so terrified. And so I think, in a way, it was kind of good that I didn't watch horror up until I was, kind of a little bit more on my own and less restricted. I just kind of I did it to defy my parents.
When we got back to working together last year, you got to. I have a huge horror collection. It's 350 movies
the biggest
strong.
I've ever seen.
Yeah. And she would come over every other week and just raid them, take 6 or 7 movies and bring them back.
It was a rental place. It was the
Rayzor's
best rental for horror. It was great.
And I'm fine with that because I always kind of. I brought my brother up on horror. He's a big fan, and I kind of feel like almost not like a teacher, kind of like a teacher, but a mentor for horror. Yeah, because it's not bad stuff. It's good, clean fun.
I still have, some of the older classics and some of the older B movies that you gave me that had a 4-pack on them. I still hadn't. They sat there, and I mean, I had every intention to watch them, and then I was like, I'll see them back to them. And then one of these nights, I'm just going to plow through it all and just to say I watched it.
On Saturdays, we've been watching 3 or 4 horror films. And
really?
Yeah, it's been put the kids to bed and watch some horror, and it's been great.
That's nice.
But yeah, I think we should move on to the top 100.
Okay, let's do it.
Because that has been going on all month. I got actually, which may not seem like a lot to some, but 15 people involved in the top 100 horror films voting on them. And they were all broken up into different categories. Let's see, the categories were slasher, and they all had their own subcategories to vote in, 1 to 10. Zombie, gothic, classic horror, monster, supernatural, haunting, religious, and gore and exploitation. So, 189 movies broken down to 100. I put almost every sequel of movies, like Friday the 13th, all the sequels on there. That way I can do a top 10 Friday the 13th, which will be out November 13th. I already got it up there. It's already done. It's ready to go.
I think I actually like that more than I do the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, like the whole
They're
franchise.
fun. I like
Friday the 13th is great. I love it. It's just so brutal, and so you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But they come up with some pretty creative ways to kill people.
Yeah, that's the best part about it. But Jane's scorecard, she out of the 189 movies, she saw 59%, which is higher than some of the other people, surprisingly. The only reason I say surprisingly is when we started talking about horror, it didn't seem like you had seen as much, but surprisingly, you've seen a lot more than you might have thought.
Yeah.
Like my brother-in-law, who's a big fan, his was like 37% or something.
Really?
Like that. Yeah. And the highest score other than yours was, I think, 62 or something like that. Other than mine. Mine was 100 because I'm ridiculous.
I was actually, whenever I saw the 59%, I was kind of like bummed out. I was like, oh,
no, it's pretty good, but you already raised it a little bit because you watched The Brood and The Beyond. And The Beyond wasn't on the list, but it will be next year. Mm-hmm. But a couple things. Her highest category of movies that she's seen was slasher. Supernatural. So you like ghost stories. Highest rank was Amityville Horror. Your highest ranked movie overall, I believe, was The Exorcist. I think you just gave it a 10, yeah.
And really, that's not my favorite horror film, so that's kind of funny.
So this is going to go on the video. Must-see movies, and I'm just going to throw a couple out there. In the zombie category, Zombie 2. It's a Lucio Fulci film. Okay. It's the one with the eyeball and the thing.
Yeah, I love eyeball scenes.
You need to see the classic Universal horror. I was surprised you haven't seen The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
No.
You need to see that.
Neither.
You need to see the original because they're completely different movies and they're both great in their own way. I love the 58 Vincent Price. He's not even the main character, and he's a good guy, kind of. Yeah. It's a great movie. It's really good. Okay.
That's on the.
You've never seen House.
Yeah. Well, I think I rented it, and then somebody threw out a spoiler, and then I was like, oh, shit.
That's a fun movie. That one actually creeped me when I was little. Twitch of the Death Nerve. That's not very many people know about that one. That one is a Mario Bava film, who's another Italian. He's before Fulci. He's before Dario Argento.
By the way, I share a birthday with Dario Argento, and I'm very, very proud of that. I just recently figured that out, and I was like, because I love Suspiria, and I still need to watch
Inferno and Mother of Tears. It's there's like I can't remember. It's the Mother of Tears trilogy or something like that, and it's Suspiria, Inferno, and then.
So they all tie together?
I don't know if they tie together. It's like the Lucio Fulci films. They say there's the Gates of Hell trilogy, which is City of the Living Dead, The Beyond, and House by the Cemetery, but they don't go together at all. So it's like an unofficial trilogy. But I know that in 2007 he had Argento wanted to get that out because it was the finale in that series or something like that.
Okay.
But
go ahead. Sorry.
You can actually see Twitch of the Death Nerve. It's called Bay of Blood. That's the American name, and it's on Netflix. So it's fun, and you'll see. We will watch it. You'll watch it, and you'll see there's some things from Friday the 13th that they pulled from that movie because it was before Friday the 13th.
So it inspired Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you remember Friday the 13th Part 2 where the two people are in the bed having sex and Jason comes and impales both of them through the bed?
Yes.
That actually came straight from that movie.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if they knew it at the time. Twitch of the Death Nerve. It's Bay of Blood on Netflix. Definitely.
Bay of Blood.
I guess she's adding it now.
Yeah, I mean, it always helps to take notes.
But we're going to wrap it up. The first part, because it's already 15 minutes in. Yeah. So we'll do a part 2 for tomorrow. We're going to record it today, though, since she's here.
Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah, we've got more topics to talk about. I don't know how to work an iPad. Anyway. There it is. Anyway,
I love Apple products, so.
Not me. Anyway, join tomorrow for Halloween. For the second part of the videocast.
Horror videocast, 2015 horror videocast. It's a must-see if you love horror. So come back with us.